I'm Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional. And together we make Whole Life Vitality.
We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness. It is freezing cold.
Yeah. Okay.
It is so freaking cold.
I don't know when you will listen to this or where you're at when you're listening. You could be listening to this in July and you're like, what? It's 104.
I mean, this is the warmest sweater I own.
But this is January right now, and we are in South Alabama. If you're new to following us, we're in South Alabama. I can count on one hand how many times that we have experienced snow. This week, 20 minutes north of us, they had snow flurries. We woke up yesterday morning and it was 18. Let me tell you what happens.
That doesn't happen here.
In South Alabama at 18. We shut down.
The schools were closed. There was not ice on the road. It was just cold. Just cold.
When I say shut down, I don't just mean like business-wise. We shut down emotionally, physically, mentally.
So true.
Our bodies can't handle this.
and what a perfect segue into what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Because today, it's all about what we're thinking.
Yeah, it's dealing with low mood.
Yeah.
Okay. Lauren.
Yes. Oh, tell me. So excited.
I read this and I loved it and I highlighted it.
All right.
The thoughts we spend time with affect how we feel. But how we feel also has an effect on the thought patterns that come up. Sit with that for a second.
Ooh.
Okay?
Isn't that it? Hang on. I feel like this is putting a lot of responsibility on me.
Yeah.
For how I'm feeling.
Yeah. So understanding that what you're thinking affects how you feel. But when you are in a low mood, that is also having effect on your thoughts.
So you got a little nice vicious cycle happening here. You're like chicken or the egg. What came first?
Yes.
The thought or the feeling?
So that's one I really want to talk about. If you've never heard the term of thought bias, but there are different thought biases that we can have when we are in like a low mood period.
What's a bias? Like you favorable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like I'm biased towards my children. I think they're the most beautiful children I've ever seen ever because, you know, they're beautiful. But I'm sure that most people think their children are the most beautiful children they've ever seen ever because I am clearly biased to my own children.
So yeah, like a tendency to go a certain way.
So if you have a thought bias, then you are prioritizing a certain way of thinking.
Yes. So I wanted to highlight some different thought biases that we have, and we can have these on a just normal day to day, but we feel them stronger and believe them more deeply when we are in a low mood. So when, you're having that bad day.
Because often, most common, a thought bias is a negative.
Right.
It's rare to have a thought bias be a positive because I don't know why, like human nature, our knee-jerk reaction, we're more likely to believe, well, I always look bad.
Yes.
Things never come easy to me than it is to believe, oh, I always look phenomenal and everything comes easy to me.
Right. Yeah. We don't usually have those people in our lives that positive thought bias.
They probably exist. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But it's just not as common.
Absolutely. So we're going to go through some of them. So listen and highlight in your mind what tends to jump out at you and you're like, oh, that's where my mind goes. If you're more than one of them.
I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Okay. The first one, mind reading. What is it? Making assumptions about what others are thinking and feeling.
We go to a Christian school.
Yeah.
Our kids go to the same school. It's a Christian school. They have a zero tolerance policy for profanity, right?
Yes.
So my children are very anti using any kind of language. It makes them very uncomfortable. Well, I told my daughter probably 6 months ago when she was in a very bad mood and she was doing quite a bit of assuming. What assuming is. I said, do you know what assuming does? And she was like, what? And I was like, well, spell it.
Yeah.
ASSUME.
Yes.
So I said, so it makes an out of you and me. And
Yeah.
she just died. She thought it was the funniest thing she's ever heard. But I think it's so appropriate because it does. Like it makes a fool out of every person in the situation because it's not actually what the reality of the situation is.
It is where you are at, your mood, making assumptions about someone else. So if you're in a low mood and you get out of your vehicle and you see someone and maybe they are deep in thought, or maybe they just got bad news or something, but they're scowling and you think,
Resting mad face.
yeah, you're like, they're mad at me. That is mind reading. And they give the example, she hasn't called in a while because she's angry with me and she doesn't like me. When in actuality, maybe, number one, it hasn't been that long, but maybe it's because there's a lot going on right now. But that's mind reading, assuming that it's you, that something that someone is upset about is because of you, or they're making a face, or they're looking, they could just be deep in thought. But it's
Most likely are. Most likely it has literally nothing to do with you.
Absolutely.
Nothing to do with you. They don't even recognize that you're there.
Yes. So it's making about you, mind reading. Okay. Number 2, overgeneralization.
What are generalizing? What's generalizing again?
Telling yourself general lies.
Yes.
When we generalize, we're telling ourselves general lies.
Yes.
So what is it?
that.
Taking one event and using it to generalize about other things. So the
Someone
example,
didn't like me here, so no one likes me anywhere.
likes me. I have actually had friends who maybe got out of a really unhealthy relationship or marriage, and they said, because this didn't work, none will work.
Well, yeah, I mean, if one man abused you, then every man is an abuser.
Yes.
Right? And,
Yes.
if one employer didn't hire you, then maybe no one wants to hire you.
Yeah. And, we have children in school. They didn't do well on a test. Well, in their minds, they're going to fail the class because I didn't do well on this test. I will never get the information and I will never do good on any of the tests and I'm going to fail the class.
I can't learn anything.
So overgeneralizing, you make a mistake and instead of saying, oh, I made a mistake and, what can I do? I can learn from this. I made a mistake. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to make mistakes from here on out. This isn't the path I should take. Da 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 da.
Yep.
Overgeneralization. So taking one event and using it to generalize about all other things. So I dealt with one bad client. All the clients are going to be bad.
Yeah.
You ran into one mean person during the day. People suck. Okay.
I mean, I have to say, at some point in my life, like multiple points in my life, I can recall doing this.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's where I am now, but we've done a lot of mindset work. We've done a lot of internal dialogue work.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes to kind of get yourself out of that thinking. So it's all very relatable.
Yes. Next, egocentric thinking.
Ooh.
Assuming that others have the same perspective and values as we have and judging their behavior through that lens.
Oh, that's so painful.
Yes.
That's so painful.
So I have, my husband is ADD. I am not. So it took lots of me understanding how his brain works based on mine because I was taking what he was doing as a form of disrespect.
Yeah.
So what I always do is, I would put something back after I got it out. He is thinking about multiple things at one time and wasn't doing that. And inside, because I would put that back, he disrespects me. He does not care about what I do around here. That's egocentric thinking.
Yeah, and a lie.
And a lie. And that's a lie.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way that I think, I'm seeing it through that lens. And that's how he should think.
Well, and as coaches, we could see people and their behavior and think, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
They know better.
Yeah.
And so it took me, when I tell you decades, it took me decades to get to the point where I finally realized, one, people either don't know,
Right.
or they don't care. Either way, it's either not an understanding for them, or it's not on the top of their priority list.
Absolutely.
And neither of those things have anything to do with me.
With you. So the example of, they're late.
Yeah.
You're always early, and they're late. They don't care about you
Yep.
because they're late.
Yep.
There was a million things that could have happened to make them late, but you've made it about you. You would not be late. And because they are late, they don't care.
And there are other things that can exacerbate this thought bias, trauma or past experience or
Right,
whatever
right.
that can definitely affect those. Last weekend, I was supposed to meet a friend, and lots of things just kept happening to delay it. And I found myself in a mental spiral of, this person doesn't care.
Yeah.
This person doesn't care about me. Maybe we're not friends anymore. I'm not even kidding.
Yes.
And this is someone who I'm very close to, someone who I've been friends with for a long time. And clearly I know these things are lies. And so I finally stopped myself, told myself, no, we're not doing this. And I turned on the radio and I was blaring my music and I'm singing along and I'm just rewriting that to pull myself out of this thought process. And by the time that I moved on to go spend time with this person, then everything was great.
Yeah.
And I was okay. But you have to snap yourself out of it.
Yeah. And you do. And realizing that you're making about you. So egocentric,
Yeah.
ego. It's about ego. That's about you.
Yep.
That's not about them. The next thought bias, emotional reasoning. I feel it, therefore it must be true. Because I am feeling this way. My feelings are facts.
Yeah.
So it must be true. I feel guilty. So I must be a bad parent.
Yeah.
Because I feel guilty about what I've done. I shouldn't have done that. I'm a terrible parent. I'm the worst. That is emotional reasoning.
Toddlers. Toddlers have a very small base of understanding, right?
Yes.
Like there are moments when you step around the corner and the toddler cries because they think that you've disappeared and you don't exist anymore, right? Mom's just gone and I'm so sad, because their base of understanding is so small.
Right.
And so they feel something and it is their whole reality.
Yeah.
But we don't have to exist that way because we grown.
Yeah. So we have to understand that feelings are not facts.
Right.
They are to be understood and they're to be questioned, but they're not facts.
Yeah.
So we can have those a lot in our professional capacity. You can question a lot professionally when things go wrong. And because you feel disappointment, then it's wrong. This didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out. I should have never tried. That's emotional reasoning.
Yeah.
You cannot believe that just because you're feeling it, that it is fact.
Yeah.
Feelings are not facts.
Oof. Big difference.
This is one of my favorites. Musts and shoulds. Relentless and unrealistic expectations that set us up to feel like a failure every day. And
Yes.
that saying, stop should-having all over yourself.
Yeah. Yes. And I feel like musts and shoulds fall right in line with comparison.
Absolutely.
They all go together because I see someone else do something. You're like, oh, well, I should have done that.
Yes.
Because you're comparing yourself to them. Well, why should you have done that?
Okay.
Why?
So Lauren and I are the same age. We're both 40. We both put health and physical health, mental health very high up. We're both eating disorder survivors, and so our bodies are usually always at the forefront of our mind, and we
body,
try.
soul.
Yes. Well, here's the deal. Your body changes as you grow older. Okay. If you don't know that, you're in for a rude awakening.
You're welcome. Now you know.
The more you know, right? Your body changes as you age. Things that were easy before are not easy as you grow older. I cannot eat an ice cream cone at 10 o'clock p.m. like I did whenever I was 18. We could go get ice cream whenever we wanted. I can't do that now. We find that there's different things.
You're grown up. You could. Your body wouldn't thank you.
Let me tell you.
Your body might even talk back to you.
I'm just going to put that as a no. I can't do it. Okay. But here's the deal. Things that were really easy become more difficult as you age, as your body is developing and growing older. It's not bad, but it's different. And so we have to adapt, and we have to understand that it's not going to look the same, but it can still be great. It can still be healthy and happy.
I just have to say, sometimes things that were once really difficult become easier as you age. Like you just change.
You change.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing. It's just a thing.
But if you are should've-ing yourself to look like the 20-year-old version of yourself, if you see a picture of yourself at 20 and your skin looked different and your body looked different, and you say, what is wrong with me? I should look like that. Or if you're comparing someone to yourself to someone that is 20 years younger than you, or even if you're comparing yourself to someone that is your age and saying, what is wrong? I should be there.
Yeah.
Even professionally, are they having better results than I'm having? I should be where they are.
You just can't compare.
Yes.
Because we're not the same. Nothing about anyone is the same. And so you don't know where you are physically and where they are physically. Even standing side by side, looking at pictures of both of you, comparing, well, maybe this person struggles with emotional issues. Maybe you're really good emotionally, but they look really great physically and you're really struggling physically. Like, you just can't compare. Everyone has that weight that they're trying to balance. Right. Everyone does.
Everyone. And, as a coach, I found that before, when I first got into coaching, I felt this need that I must always be perfect. I must always have my best face on and my best foot forward. And because one person saw me on a bad day and said, "You're a coach. Why don't you just coach yourself?" And that
Coaches
hit
are
me.
allowed to have bad
and
days.
I was like, "Oh, okay. So I must always be perfect." And I hit some serious issues with that because I'm not a robot. I'm a human being and I experience emotions.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. I'm not robotic.
Whoa.
So I found that it's okay for me to have negative emotions because positive, negative, they're just emotions. I'm supposed to learn from them. God gave them to me as a gift to experience what's going on right then and to learn from it and to grow from it. And so I realized I must not or should not be a certain way. Just be. So stop setting yourself up for really unrealistic expectations. Okay.
Yeah. I love that.
And then the last one is, and there's more, but these are the main ones.
Yeah, sure.
All or nothing thinking. Thinking in absolutes or extremes.
I always feel this way and I'll never feel differently.
All or nothing. Those are, I love that you pointed out that because it's your always, your every time, your nothing, everyone.
Yep.
It's those words that are you should really listen out for those because those are your all or nothings. Like when you're using those words, you're really putting that thinking into an extreme.
And once you start listening for them, you'll realize how often they come out because they do. They come out and we don't even think about it, right? And I've learned to catch myself or help my children and they'll say, "I always this." And I'm like, "Oh, so you're feeling that way today?"
Yeah. Yes.
And just slowly start to rewrite that dialogue.
Yes.
Because it's a habit. You created a habit. You use this dialogue. Well, just shift it.
And when you start paying attention to those words, your brain will start putting a red flag on them. It's almost like putting those little Post-its on, like in the margins. Your brain will start putting a Post-it on that and saying, wait a second, you just said always. You just said never. You just said every time.
Yep.
So the truth is it always every time? Because if it's not, you're lying to yourself.
Do you know what is the fastest way to get into a fight with your significant other? Use absolutes.
Yeah. Use all or nothing thinking.
It. Yeah.
You never help me with the kids.
You're always late. You're always criticizing.
Yeah.
You're always whatever, or you never this. I mean, that shuts people down so quickly.
Absolutely. And think about it in work. When you're criticizing a coworker or, you always say that, or you never do this. Is that true? But how does that make you feel? Number one, you're seeing them through a lens then.
Yep.
So you're telling your brain to never look at what they do right and to always look at what they're doing wrong. And then they, on the flip side of that, feel like you're only seeing what they don't do or what they've made a mistake on, or in that term. So relationships, friendships, working relationships,
Children.
Yourself, doing it to yourself. I never get the right answer.
Yeah.
So then you're telling yourself to think back to all the times that you got a wrong answer.
Well, and if you're telling yourself, I'm not a robot and it's okay to feel all the feels, then can we extend that grace to other people in our lives as well?
Absolutely. So those are a few. Think over those and see if you fall into any of those traps, those bias traps. And then what do you do with it? So here's the deal. When you are in those moments and you're finding yourself thinking about those things, if you can just take a moment and say, I am feeling like this. So I am feeling like I always make the same mistake. Or I am experiencing feelings where I'm telling myself this.
Yeah.
So if you will say, I'm experiencing this or I'm feeling this instead of I am.
Yep.
What your brain will do then, it will separate from the feeling, and it'll actually want you to question whether it's true or not. You actually will get to a point, if you will separate and say, I'm feeling this or I'm experiencing this, your brain will say, okay, well, if you're experiencing this, is it actually happening?
Yep.
And then you can ask yourself some questions. We have some questions. Lauren has some questions that you can ask yourself. If you will separate, if you can take that moment, take a step back and say, I'm feeling this or I'm experiencing this. And when you do that, it leaves your brain open to question these thought biases. So what are some of the questions, Lauren?
Well, your brain wants to answer whatever question you ask.
Absolutely.
It. And so if you tell it something in an absolute form, then it'll be like, okay, yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Right.
But if you ask it in a question form, then it will seek for answers.
Right.
So am I seeking confirmation? Confirmation bias is when you are just only looking to have what you're currently feeling or experiencing confirmed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go hunting and I'm only going to agree with what I find that agrees with exactly this moment right now.
So am I just looking for ways to prove that I'm wrong?
Or they're wrong.
Or they're wrong. Or the negative. Am I just looking for the negative?
Because whatever you go looking for, you will find.
Very good.
Are there other perspectives?
Yeah.
Is there anything outside of that confirmation bias that maybe I can look at?
So do I have any proof that this is not what I'm thinking it is?
And if you're going to seek out opinion or counsel, then maybe go to people that you know are not just a yes man. They're not just going to agree with you, but they are going to honestly say, yeah, okay, we can look at it from this perspective or this perspective.
Yeah.
Because we have friends that are just, your hype squad that are just going to agree with you. Like, yeah, we hate them. You know? And maybe this isn't the best time for that.
No.
Is emotion influencing my thoughts?
Ah, yes. So is my low mood probably contributing to any of these thought biases that I'm having right now?
And I think we could probably add into that our hormones influencing my thoughts, because as women, I feel like there are certainly times when irrationally hormones are influencing my thoughts.
Absolutely. And we have to take that step back and say, things are better than they feel right now.
Yep. Am I jumping to conclusions?
I like that one. I like that.
Kind of goes along with assuming.
Yeah.
But we're just jumping straight to the end.
Especially for mind reading. That's a great one when you see that scowl and you think, are they mad at me? And then so immediately taking a step back and say, I'm feeling like they're mad at me. Am I possibly jumping to conclusions with that?
Yep.
That's great.
Have I checked the facts? Have I actually seen the facts? Have I looked into the facts? Am I acknowledging that there are facts here that could be checked?
That's wonderful, because then you're saying we already started with feelings are not facts. So that way you have to step outside of what you're feeling and actually prove to your brain.
Maybe get a little solution minded.
Yeah.
What assumptions am I making?
Very good.
We did address assumptions. Right. Am I generalizing?
Yes.
We know about generalize.
Am I telling myself generalize?
Am I being driven by fear or anxiety?
Yeah. Is this just, am I overwhelmed? Am I experiencing overwhelm right now? And this is just anxiousness and exhaustion talking.
Yep. Have I considered the long-term effects?
Oh,
because
that's great.
When you are right there in the moment with it, in order to consider the long-term effects, you have to take yourself out of that moment.
Right.
And say, well, what happens if I proceed how I am?
Yeah.
What happens if I continue to poke at this? And what happens then?
Yeah.
Sunny, you did a online workshop years ago that I attended, and it was phenomenal. But in that workshop, you asked a series of questions that you shared with us that I just really loved. And I believe it was, is it true?
Yes. Yes. Is it true? Do I know with 100% surety that it's true? How do I feel when I think this thought? How would I feel if I couldn't think this thought? If this thought was gone, what would I feel?
Yeah.
And then what is the exact opposite of this thought? And working through that, even asking yourself those questions. I've talked myself down from anxiety ledge before, just asking myself those questions because of what I was feeling in the moment. And when I got to all the way to the end, I realized what I was feeling wasn't true.
Yeah. And even once you get to the point where you're saying, is it 100% without a doubt, zero question, unequivocally
certainty
true? Yeah. Then you're like, okay, well, I mean, if we're going to get that extreme, then I guess maybe there is some wiggle room where it could be slightly not quite there.
Yeah, I'm probably just feeling that it's true.
But you're giving yourself room to think about the other side of it.
Absolutely.
But even just acknowledge that, okay, maybe it's like 95% true, but there's like 5% that maybe isn't.
Yes,
so
then it's not 100% surety and certainty. So those are great. So truly, if you are, you're been experiencing a low mood, or some things have happened to you recently, something you experience, and it's really hard time. Maybe you're just going through a valley right now. Yeah. Think about these thought biases and see if you are falling into the category of any of them. And then to get past it, find yourself like Lorna said, someone that you can really trust, that's going to be kind and honest to you. That's not just, girl. No, that's really going to speak truth to you. So then take a step back and say, I'm feeling these things. I'm experiencing these things. And then your brain separates from I am it to I'm just feeling it. And when you say that, you have room to ask yourself these questions. And then you can realize through asking yourself these questions, okay, it's just that I'm feeling this. And why am I feeling this? Probably because I'm overwhelmed, because I'm anxious, because someone was really mean to me and hurt my feelings. I'm experiencing relationship issues. I'm experiencing really low self-esteem right now.
Maybe I'm remembering something that happened a long time ago and it's bringing up an old memory, and really I'm just kind of triggered and has nothing to do with what's happening right now. But there's magic in the margin.
Yes.
So giving yourself that margin really makes all the difference.
So, thought biases. Don't fall into the trap. And we're here. So if you find that you've been in these categories, let us know. Reach out.
Yeah.
If something we've said has resonated to you, send us a message. Shoot us, hey, listen, that was really helpful because I've been, all or nothing thinking for a long time. Well,
or
part of you too, here.
I would love to know, what is your favorite thought bias? Because we all have our favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, our go-tos. What is your favorite general lie that you tell yourself? Because again, we all have our favorites.
Yeah. So share with us, let us know what you've been going through, and then truly take a step back, and you're not what you're feeling. Okay. Ask yourself those questions and really come to the realization that feelings are not facts.
Yeah.
Right.
What's that thing? A friend sent it to me the other day and I shared it with Sunny. It said, my toxic trait is thinking that I can eat something and it won't bother me when I know every time I eat it makes my stomach sick.
I can eat the thing that always bothers me, and this time it won't bother me. Ice cream.
Look at my toxic trait. But we all have our favorites, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Because they're just kind of our go-tos that we're like, well, maybe I can have some ice cream every now and again.
But realizing what they are, putting a name to it, is so helpful to overcome it.
Yep.
But you can't fight what you don't see.
Yep. So true. Thank you so much for showing up today. We love doing this with you. We love hearing from you. Reach out, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, check us out on all of our social media platforms. You can always find a link down in the description to our other social media platforms. If you don't know how to find us, it's right there just waiting for you. So we will see you next time, friends.
Bye, guys.